Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Pilar, and welcome to Pal Talks. Who am I with today, and what do you do?
My name is Cameron J. Cole, and I am a software engineer here in New York.
Ooh la la ooh. So we have to start off with the most obvious question. Do you get J. Cole comparisons at your job?
Name, yes. Some people ask me if I rap, but typically, like, the looks, not really. I'm not quite as skin tone, and I don't have the locks, so not quite there. If they know who J. Cole is.
That's a big one. Speaking of J. Cole, have you listened to any of his music recently?
I listened to the most recent album. I can't remember what the name is, where he tried to shoot back at Kendrick. Listened to it. I have mixed opinions, mixed feelings about it.
Okay, and if you were to shoot back at someone, what would be your preferred method?
That's a good question. Maybe like the Hamilton style rap, where he would kind of roast somebody, but in a musical theater style.
Okay. That
would be kind of fire, but not quite a rap, you know.
Yeah. Okay, and I have to know, what would the name of that show be called?
Now, see, I'm not even a musical person. I'm a software engineer, but I guess I have to try.
You see, Hamilton is just called Hamilton.
Yeah, Hamilton is called Hamilton. Hamilton. So I don't know. I don't think I should call it J. Cole because it wouldn't be searchable on Google. I don't know. CJ Bites Back.
Ooh, CJ Bites Back. And speaking of bytes, do you work with gigabytes in your job or any type of byte?
Technically, since I do work with computers and all things are bytes, all things are stored as bits and bytes and gigabytes. So technically, yes.
Okay, technically. And do you like the technical work that you do?
It's pretty solid. Sometimes I do wish I was working something a little more physical that you could touch, since you can't really touch software, whereas I work something physical that was in the real world. But it's fun, you know. It's a interesting challenge every once in a while.
Okay, fire. And for someone like myself and some other people out there who don't understand software, can you give us a little Pal Talks friendly version of what it is that you do basically and what you're working with?
Let me try to break it down. You're watching this on a phone. Right, you're looking at this on a phone, right? And so when you tap the screen, right, it does something, right? But how does it know what to do? So when you tap, what does a tap mean? What does that physically correspond to?
Selecting.
Yeah, but you touch the screen,
okay,
and electrical signal gets sent to something, and then some code executes. So you want to open Instagram or YouTube or TikTok to watch this.
He's a big YouTube guy. Just shout out.
Possibly. But you have to do that. So it's about programming something so that way when you make some action, some other resulting action happens. So when you click this app, your Instagram homepage loads. When you tap that video, something gets sent so that way the video from wherever computer it's stored on gets sent to your device and you start watching it. And so it's about coding those instructions so your interaction actually has action.
When it comes to doing all these actions and creating instructions, do you think you're actually good at giving directions for people and things?
I'd say sometimes. I used to be a tour guide for my school, so
Fight on, baby.
Fight on. So sometimes, yes, I'd have to give very lost people instructions, and I'm a cardinal directions person, so it takes a lot of me to not tell someone to go north and then turn east. But I usually...
Are you a Boy Scout?
No.
Eagle Scout?
No.
Do you like Girl Scout cookies?
Yes.
Okay, that's right. That was there's a scout in there some way, somehow.
Some type of scout.
But you like to give directions.
I'd say I'm okay at it. I'm not the best, but I'd say I'm solid.
Okay, so you think that you actually are good at relaying messages and good at relaying instructions?
For the most part, but in a game of telephone, I can't say.
And does that skill play well with your job?
Sometimes, but not really. Sadly, my job is a little more of a solo. I have to talk to some people occasionally, but a lot of times it's more so. I'm riding solo. You know, the Jason Derulo. So yeah, sometimes you just have to do it on your own, which is sometimes a little boring since you're doing it by yourself. But occasionally we get a chance to talk to someone. If you're good at talking and giving directions and articulating, it works really well.
That's
super good.
And I have to know, how is working in a solo spot? Because so many people, it's that constantly working on a direct team or anything, that's where they get energy. But when you are working something solo, that can be it's really just all you. So how has that been? And what are the perks and the drawbacks of it as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little rough. I still do work with other people around, but we don't work on the same thing. So I do draw a little bit of the energy of that, but I do like to be social. I like talking to people. That's part of the reason why I'm here. So because of that, it can be a little lonely because sometimes you just need to at the very least, you crave social interaction sometimes, especially if you're working from home, you're super isolated. But also, you just kind of want to be able to talk to someone about the work that you're doing and have them have a clear understanding of it. Sometimes they don't. So it can be a little rough in that point.
What kind of advice or lessons or even like functions, I guess, would you say or give to someone who has to adapt to doing a solo version of their own patterns?
Find that social interaction outside of it. So yes, maybe for 8 hours a day, your social interaction is minimal, but are you hanging out with friends? If you're going places, try to go places together. If you can like find those social interactions and be around people and hear that and feel that like energy from other people, really great. But if you do have an option to change it at your job, I feel like a good point is just try to incorporate those interactions a little bit. So like whether or not you're trying to talk to your coworkers who maybe don't work on the same project, but at least you grab lunch with them, maybe like ask for other details of clarification or like share what you're doing for other people. Because some people, I don't know, they might be nerdy, they might like what you're doing, they want to hear about it.
Yeah.
Those type of things. So just like try to find those ways to sneak in that social interaction during the day. For me, that's been really helpful. Just I find that I'm like able to still speak a good bit and kind of maintain that social interaction. I feel like we all as like, humans crave, but it just works really well.
You are not from New York. Fun fact. Got a little Chi-Town boy over here. And then, school in LA. So how has finding a social group atmosphere, anything in New York, how has that been for you?
I'd say it's like, for me, it's been better than most. USC has a good amount of people from here. I have literally my USC pennant like right off camera.
Yeah, we're going to pan just so that you can see. Ta-da!
But for us, it's been pretty good since there's like a lot of USC alum out here, which is really nice. And like I've been able to meet a lot of people through my job because I feel like our generation is more social and like more fun 100%. To work with us. So like I have plenty of people who like, oh, you graduated in the same year. Oh, like you're also Black. Oh, you're like, you're maybe not from here. Okay, well, like let's link up. Let's have fun. Let's go out to the club. Let's grab lunch. Let's grab dinner. Let's like do fun things together. So it's been better for me than I feel like for most people. So I'm very thankful for that.
And do you think that's just a testament to the types of people that exist in New York? Like, does New York feel like a more social and active place?
Yeah, I'd say like having lived, I lived in Seattle for a summer for internship, and internships are usually supposed to be very social. It was not the same. I think like New York draws out people who, if you don't like living in New York, you're not going to live here. And a lot of people who don't like living in New York are going to be a little more quiet, a little more to themselves. You come to New York because you want to be out of the house. So people who live here inherently are going to be more social, are going to be out of the house because the apartments are small here. You don't want to be in the apartment. You want to be out the house. Ooh. So people like that are going to be out the house, going to be outside. So you're going to meet the people at your work. Like I know it's like I work with a lot more talkative people than I expect because if you didn't want to be that talkative, you wouldn't live here. You wouldn't pay the money to be here. You would move somewhere else. So it definitely has, the people who come here are much more social.
Where can we find you and y'all and them on a Friday through Sunday night? Where can we find y'all?
If we're going out, maybe it'll be like an East Village, a Lower East Side moment. I go to Cafe Ezruli. I'm like absolutely butchering that, but if you know, it's in Bushwick. Find me over there. At any night, it's like pretty nice. You're going to clubbing, but if it's like Sunday, maybe a brunch spot, or if it's in the summer, like maybe like picnic in the park, like reading a book. Every once in a while, I need more recommendation. I'm looking for stuff. So got a little mix of like party, social, and then just like mindfulness and like time to enjoy the little bit of nature we have here.
So he's a full stack, and you'll get that eventually. Y'all will get that, and then you'll be like, oh my gosh, I remember the interview where they threw to that. What are some final thoughts for all the other aspiring tech boys, tech Black boys, and all the people? What are the final words of advice as someone who, just graduated, moved to a whole new city, has like a big boy job and everything?
I'd say like for starters that there's a lot more people like you than you realize. I think like imposter syndrome, it starts in college, and for a lot of people it never really goes away. You're always going to think that like you don't belong here. You're going to see with someone who's better than you, like has more experience, and you're going to think like, dang, like, well, why am I here? There are plenty of people who are feeling just like that. In fact, some of the people you look up to probably also felt the same way. So kind of keep that in mind when you're going through your journey. And like more people are going to want to like gather, talk, congregate, look for just like socialization and community, and like seek those things out. If you see someone in the elevator, when you're walking by, just say hello. Like, I know as simple as this, and the thing is like, I don't know, like unlike the worst things, like, I don't know, you can just like ask them about something. If you recognize someone, like, oh, I recognize you. Were you at this event? Easiest way to make coworkers and make friends. Like try to connect with your friends and mutuals. And the biggest thing, if you're looking to build your network, I'm not going to say don't say no, but if you are going outside and you have invitations, more likely than not, I would just say yes. You'll never know who you're going to meet there. And that person, I literally went out with someone who's going to a museum. I didn't expect to go there. This person gave me a piece of information that really changed, like potentially even the outlook of my professional career. So if you have the opportunity to give some information, just go out because you don't know who you're going to meet, and it could change the way you look at things.
Wow. Cam, Jay, Cole, ladies and gentlemen, and theys. Wow. So good.